How close are we to the edge of the Union?
How British are the British now?
Irish. We definitely see ourselves as Irish.
Scottish.
I am English.
The political dynamics of today strain the ties that bind the United Kingdom.
I see myself as Welsh.
And I'm proud to be British.
This election will, in many ways, define the direction of the UK. I've taken a trip to the four corners of the kingdom to measure how close it's come to the edge.
No, you won't fool the children of the revolution. No, no.
They were watching a T-Rex tribute act in Glenrothes, Fife this month. When the real thing was a big thing in the 70s, elections were different. Scottish independence, once a fringe act, is now centre stage. This was a trip to gauge the fragility of the Union from the pollsters and the people.
My name is Peter Duff.
I'm Kirsty McLean and I identify as Scottish and British.
And I identify as Scottish. I'm all right, Derek. I'm getting filmed for Sky News.
I describe myself as Scottish, but I don't see myself as being any different to people who are any other sort of nationality.
Why independence?
Because I think we could make it as a nation. I think we've got enough guts and I think we've got enough fortitude.
Brexit has stirred the Scottish independence debate, north of the border and south.
It's always been my view that if the Union comes to an end, it will come to an end because of either English indifference or hostility. I think at the moment there's probably more indifference than hostility, but there's little doubt that there is a brand of English nationalism which is abroad, which in a sense is not really interested on whether Scotland continues in the Union or not.
Support for Scottish independence has grown in recent months. We dropped in on the wild swimmers of Loch Ness to see how the prospect of a breakaway is going down.
I'm Marvin Bridges.
I'm John Mackey. I identify myself as Scottish.
If the only way I can stay in Europe is by leaving the UK, then I would rather stay in Europe.
Would it concern you if the United Kingdom broke up?
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't concern me at all.
This is Armagh in Northern Ireland, north of the border, even if the sights and sounds speak of the south. Hurling is Ireland's national game and attracts a largely nationalist crowd here, one that looks southward in its sport as it does in self-identity. Over 3 years of Brexit negotiations, talk of a hard border between north and south didn't sit well here.
I'm Ryan Gaffney and I identify myself as Irish. We see ourselves as much Irish as people down the road from us.
My name's Brian McAvoy.
My name is Lisa Feeney.
My name's Damien McCullough. I identify as an Irish nationalist.
Irish. Are you British in any sense?
Oh, do I have to answer that? Not a chance, James. No, I'm Irish. Proud of it.
We identify as being Irish. Can't split a country up and tell people what they are and what they should be.
I think we're now starting to see Irish nationalism and Scottish nationalism start to take even a stronger voice and take a stronger mandate than what we had before. And I do think the long-term future of the United Kingdom has been Brexit is the one thing that has put that most in danger. And remember 100 years ago we were separated, so maybe the way Brexit's going, it's coming back to bite the English.
The life we share together is now drifting apart.
People in Northern Ireland have enjoyed 2 decades unhindered by the Troubles. That's not to say past history isn't carried into the present. Politics still turn on religious differences.
And then both looking here, that's it, everyone looking here.
I travelled along the Upper Newton Arch Road in East Belfast, past the wedding, beyond the murals, into the suburb of Ballahackmore. It's an area predominantly Protestant, albeit not a political pigeonhole.
My name is Paul Murphy.
I'm Alison McLenahan.
I self-identify as being Northern Irish.
Honestly, I want to be European.
My name is Anne McGarvey and I'm proud to be British.
That's a culture I identify with and love more than my own culture, and that's actually the culture I want to be part of. I don't want to be part of British culture.
And the Prime Minister is no Prime Minister.
We were always told that people in England didn't care about Northern Ireland. And I think the thing about Brexit is that's proven to be the case.
And he's trying to sell us down the river.
Why do you say that?
He's wanting a united Ireland and we don't want it. He's going to have rats on his hands if he doesn't watch himself.
What's the name of this area actually?
Cathedral Quarter.
Cathedral Quarter, right.
Unsurprisingly, Brexit is having very differing effects amongst people's views of Irish unity. So those who are in favour of Irish unity are increasingly likely to think it's going to happen and that they want it to happen. Those who are opposed to Irish unity or are wary of it are increasingly resistant to it. And it's that polarisation and the sort of reinforcement of difference that we're beginning to see through Brexit that would be quite worrying, I think, for the longer term peace process.
That pessimism plays out here. At unionist meetings in the East Belfast Constitutional Club, they've aired their anger at Boris Johnson's Brexit plan for a customs border down the Irish Sea.
My name is Moore Holmes and I identify as British.
The talk in here is, ominously, of protest.
As soon as you allow the threat of violent republicanism to achieve political gain, you do run this risk of tensions being heightened, extreme sensitivities, and these public protests and rejection can lead to other things. And I would first and foremost condemn that. I wouldn't want to see that. We don't want to see that happen. But there is a risk.
Back across the Irish Sea, I headed to Carnarvon in Wales. In this bilingual town, the Carnarvon Male Voice Choir recently celebrated its 50th anniversary. The faces have changed over the years. So has the outlook.
Fenyw, Griffith Penrhyn-Jones, dwi'n gweld fy hun o Cymro, ac tan yn ddiweddar, ni'n gweld fy hun o Prydeinwyr hefyd, ond dwi ddim o sicr bellach.
Has Brexit made you feel less British?
Yes. It splits us. I mean, in a sense, I understand, for instance, how the Scots feel, and I feel like, you know, if Scotland leaves the UK, I would feel like a little brother who sees his big brother leave the patriarchal home and make his own way in the world. And I would be glad for him, but I'd be sad for me.
My next destination was England, the powerhouse behind the Brexit vote. Before we hear the English voices, let's look at the views expressed in a YouGov poll for Sky News. Leave voters across Britain were asked if Scottish independence was a price worth paying for Brexit. 41% said yes. Asked if Scotland becoming independent would be a positive thing anyway, 17% said yes. Leave voters were asked if a united Ireland would be a price worth paying for Brexit, 25% said yes. Asked if Northern Ireland joining the Republic would be a positive thing anyway, 17% said yes. And Leave voters were asked if Welsh independence would be a price worth paying for leaving the EU, 28% said yes. Asked if Wales becoming independent would be a positive thing anyway, 10% said yes. The English perspective on the relevance of the Union is pivotal. If the biggest and most powerful partner in the UK decides it doesn't have a future, the UK doesn't have one. As our poll reflects, English nationalism will be a factor in this election.
I think the truth is that there's a set of voters who want England's interests protected, right? And If for them that means leaving the EU, then if that had to be the end of the union, they would go along with that. That doesn't mean they're against the union, they want it to break up, but if that's what it came down to, that's what they would prioritise.
4 in 1, 41, 73, 73. 6-0.
Can I just give you a joke?
Yeah, go on.
Did you know that Oxo had bought a new cube out for Brexit? Do you know what it's called?
What?
Laughing stock.
They like a laugh at the bingo in Belport, Derbyshire. I went here to get a public take on the political debate around English interests.
I'm Heather Ufton and I would say I am English. I feel we're a bit hard done to. We're the nation that can't be who we say we are. We have to be British. I don't see it's very fair that Scotland gets and Wales get to be Scottish and Welsh, but we can't be English. I think that happens a lot in society at the minute.
The West Midlands saw the highest Brexit vote in Britain. How do they see Britain itself? Here in Walsall, 67.9% of people turned their back on the union with Europe. What do they care here for the union closer to home?
I'm Dudley Swain. I'm a member of the United Kingdom.
I'm Claire and I identify as English.
I'm English, but I still see myself as a member of the UK.
If leaving the EU meant the breakup of the United Kingdom, how would you feel about that?
I think we need to. We need to break up and go. It's been mucking around for 2 years now and we just need to go.
And if that meant the breakup of the United Kingdom?
So be it.
I'm not happy that UK should break up. I think that Wales and England and Scotland and Northern Ireland are a great integral unit, but we've got such friction from Scotland. My inclination is that the next government ought to go to Scotland and say, we've got an agreement that you should leave us in 12 months' time. We can save a lot of money, you can be independent, see how it gets on.
Of course, there is, as they say, only one poll that counts. The country will speak with a collective voice on December the 12th. That will be the definitive verdict on the state we're in and on the states of the Union.